Hello, YouTube. My name is Alan, and it's that time once again. Let's talk metal. This week's video is going to be a pretty short and straightforward one. It is an answer to MetalMickey's video asking people to talk about 10 of their favorite album titles. He put this out there as a VC kind of topic, and I agree with him that it's a pretty fun one. Album titles are one of the first things we notice when we come across an album. And a good title can really capture your imagination, can make you curious to check out what the music is like in that particular album. On the other hand, a really generic title or kind of a uninteresting title, well, that's already a strike against the album. It's like, don't know if that's going to be worth my time and money. So yeah, I thought it was a very fun and clever topic from Mickey, as usual. And so I quickly rounded up 10 titles that I think are just fun, outstanding, cool, interesting, whatever. Not going to belabor this too long. Let's get right on to it. First one is an album I don't have a hard copy of, so we'll just show this one on the screen. It is a little UK battle magic metal to get us going. It is by Balsagoth, and the album title is Starfire Burning Upon the Ice-Veiled Throne of Ultima Thule. Yeah, that's a mouthful or two, absolutely, which is part of what makes it kind of neat. It's, crazy, over the top, super long title. And, Balsagoth does that with a lot of their song titles. They go for this big, sort of, epic, ridiculously over the top battle, magic metal style thing. And they're kind of fun to a point. I will say the music often leaves me wanting just a bit. This is the kind of thing, it's, fun to read the titles, fun to listen to on a rare occasion, but I've always been just a little let down by the music on this. It's the kind of thing you play a few times and you realize, like, well, maybe it's not quite as awesomely epic as I'd hoped based on that title, but a bit fun nevertheless. So yeah, that'll be the longest title by far. All right, let's keep going through the stack. I noticed these next few do have a little bit of a thing in common. We'll see if you can pick up on it as we work through them. We will stay in the UK for a moment, and we shall have bolt throwers. In battle, there is no law. This title I really like simply because it's very evocative of the early bolt thrower sort of ethos, where they were heavily kind of tied in with the Warhammer 40K universe of Games Workshop. And the tagline for Warhammer has always been, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And the fact that this kind of follows up, well, in battle, there is no law, just plays into the fact that, chaos is a huge element of Warhammer 40K. And of course, they've always used the, eight-pointed arrow for bolt thrower, the sigil of chaos as one of their main symbols for the band. This also feels like an album title that not many bands could pull off except for Bolt Thrower, since it ties in so nicely to their sound, their style, and the themes of those early albums in particular. Although Bolt Thrower never really strayed far from the war theme, they just kind of got out of Warhammer and got into more realistic stuff. Up next, excuse me, I've been getting over some allergies, which is one reason I want to keep this short. We will head over to the US for some classic epic doom metal. Solitude Eternus' first album, Into the Depths of Sorrow. That's just a title that perfectly encapsulates, great doom metal. This one, the album cover, the look on the person's face, it all kind of ties in together extremely nicely. But yeah, Into the Depths of Sorrow, you can't ask for a much better doom metal album title than that. Now, it might feel slightly generic when I looked across, a lot of titles on the Doom shelves. A lot of them have, somewhat more generic titles, but this one, again, I think it really fits the bill for that style of music. Really nice. All right, moving on to number 4. We've got Unanimated with In the Forest of Dreaming Dead. Unanimated, pretty cool band. It's one of those where people kind of disagree. Are they like melodic black metal, melodic death metal, black and death metal? deathly black metal. Hey, it's somewhere in that general mix, whatever. That's what we're talking about today. But In the Forest of Dreaming Dead, I always kind of liked it in part because there's no V in the middle. It's just in the forest. Well, here on the spine, it actually says of the Dreaming Dead. But I've always thought of, for some reason, it's in the forest of Dreaming Dead. I guess either way, it is still fairly cool. Dreaming Dead kind of brings to mind, some of the Cthulhu quotes about, not dead, only dreaming. What's the transition there? Why is there a forest of things that are dead and apparently dreaming? Not 100% sure, but it's a title that, yeah, Mike pointed this out in his video. Some titles, kind of, they start to tell a little bit of a story. They make you curious about, what that would be like. What's the plot there? And this is one of those titles that works for me. All right, up next, one of my all-time favorites, just a great title, is Sweden's Nocturnal Rites in their debut album, In a Time of Blood and Fire. So, damn, how much more epic can you be? None. None more epic. So, yeah, I absolutely love that album title. Again, looking across all the power metal bands, some of the titles tend to stray a bit generic, or there's just like, one or two word little things. But yeah, this one really hammers home exactly what they're going for. Very cool album, very cool title. And you may have noticed, as I did, that these last four I've gone through have a theme where they're all starting with IN, the word in. We had In Battle There Is No Law, Into the Depths of Sorrow, In the Forest of, well, The Dreaming Dead, got that wrong the first time through, and In a Time of Blood and Fire. So apparently, I tend to like albums that have in as the first word. Um, on the other hand, I've also tended to notice I'm not big on titles that use of quite as much, at least like as a main word, or things that are constructed with like a three-word title, like Wings of Destiny, or Blank of Blank. I feel like that's a formula that gets overused in metal titles quite a bit. And again, not necessarily album titles, but certainly in song titles. Bands do too much of the blank of blank kind of formula. But the in blank formula, apparently I'm all about that. All right, we got five more of these to go. Let's move right along. This next one is a very unique title. And again, I feel like this is a title only this band would ever have pulled off. It is Savage's Hall of the Mountain King. What other band would have used that album title, especially in the late 1980s? Nothing really pops to mind at all, but it just captures something about Savage's music perfectly. They always had, this little darker, more sinister, creepy, freaky vibe to their music compared to a lot of similar bands from the day. So yeah, the idea that, you got, some kind of, excuse me, some kind of, mad deity stowed away deep within a mountain cave. The dungeons are calling. That's exactly the kind of thing that ties in with the Sabotage outlook for sure. So love that title. This next one's sort of an odd title, but I always thought it was kind of cool. And it doesn't hurt that I ended up loving the album too. It is Primordial. I believe this is their third album. It is titled Spirit the Earth Aflame. And I think the thing I like about this is that they're using spirit as a verb. That's somehow you're using the spirit to actually, set the world aflame, I guess. Maybe I'm completely misreading this or not getting the point of it. But yeah, I always like the fact that it's not, set the world afire or something like that, but that they're sort of, invoking the spirit to cause an action. So always stood out as, kind of a neat one. Up next, oldie but a goodie, we have the second Solstice album. Another UK band here. This one is titled New Dark Age, which may not seem like, the most original or unique title, but it ties in, of course, it's part of the opening quotation to Lovecraft's The Call of Cthulhu, and Solstice's album, the music on here just sort of seems to fit with that concept as well. The idea of something being a new dark age, there's a little bit of an oxymoron there that you're sort of moving forward into a new age, but it's going to be a dark age, which is something we've already been through in the past, that there's a regression happening there. It's, something that in a way ties back into the bolt thrower and Warhammer universe, is that you go into like this futuristic age where mankind is really past its prime, and even though they have all this big tech and weaponry, humans actually are not doing very well and have actually lost most of their accumulated knowledge and wisdom. So yeah, new dark age, just one of those old phrases that works, kind of fires the imagination. All right, 2 left to go. Up next, we have Eternus, and So the Night Became. Great album, love it to death. And the title in this one, again, it has a little bit of, again, that storytelling component. It feels like the maybe concluding line from some kind of, story or fairy tale, blah, 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 blah. And so the night became. It's like, well, again, it kind of catches the imagination. It's like, what has occurred that led to the creation of night? How did it come into being? We want the beginning part of that story. Is it going back into, talking about somehow, early Greek mythology, the creation of Nyx or something like that? I don't know, but I think it works extremely well as a title. Very cool, very unique. Cool and unique album as well. All right, and then last one, a classic by most measures. We have Dissection's sophomore effort, which has the amazing title of Storm of the Light's Bane. A very powerful name, very unique, and somehow really just captures the essence of what they sound like on this album too. That it is very unrelenting, and yeah, just really going after its nemesis. No holds barred. Another fantastic album with one of those album titles that is just kind of the cherry on top. The art's cool, the music's unprecedentedly good, and it even has a cool title to make sure that when you talk about it, you get to say something cool. It's not like, oh, we've got this killer dissection album with great necrolord art, and it's called Fuzzy Kittens Unite. That wouldn't work. So no, it's got an awesome killer title. All 10 of these do, in my opinion. So that's my list for MetalMickey's video. It's not a contest, just a video topic. So now let's talk metal in the comments down below. What do you think of these 10 choices? Would any of them have made your list? Is there one that you would leave off? Or what would be your number one pick to put on a list if you were doing a video yourself? I presented these in no particular order. I didn't try to rank them from least favorite to favorite. There's probably others I didn't think of that I would say are even cooler than any of these 10. But let me know in the comments down below. What are some of your favorite album titles, and why does that title click with you? All right, let's wrap this up. Short and sweet for this particular video. Everybody take care. And as always, keep banging your head.